All right, so this is going to be a quick video on how to change the RO cartridges just for a standard yearly service. We're just going to do it here out in the open, so it's a bit easier to see rather than being under a sink. You're not going to be really able to see what we're doing. So realistically, all you need to do the changeover is just a flathead screwdriver and always just like a rag or a towel or something, because you will get a little bit of water come out of the system when you take the cartridges off. So first thing you need to do is turn the water off to the system. So if you follow your red tube, it'll go back to a little valve like this. So like that is turned on. You want to turn it off like that. And also, because the system is pressurized by the tank, you're also going to need to turn the tank valve off. So that's this blue valve on top of the tank. Just want to spin it quarter like that way. Just note that they only spin one way. So if you're pushing the valve one way and it doesn't want to go, it's probably because it's going to spin the other way. So now that the water's turned off, you just want to turn your tap on, let it run. It'll just dribble out and then it will stop, which just means that the water is actually off to the system. Make sure you do that step, because if you haven't done one of these correctly, water will keep coming out of the tap. From there, also obviously you need your cartridge replacement kit, which will be 3 cartridges for the yearly changeover, which is 1 sediment, 1 carbon, and then the alkaliser. So what you need to do now is unscrew the sediment. They are backwards thread, so usually it's righty tighty, lefty loosey, but whatever you want to say, it's opposite. So they literally will just unscrew. As easy as that. So sediment cartridges first. They're labelled on the top of the head, and it also will say it on the actual cartridge. So sediment is dirt and sand reduction. Just got to remember to take your little yellow thing off the top. Screw that back in. They only need to be hand tight as well, so you don't need to rip it tight, because they have a rubber on the inside. Next thing, I always unclip the alkaliser so we can get into the carbon. So there's 2 carbon filters on the 2nd and the 4th. On the yearly changeover, what you actually do is you move the 2nd carbon filter, which is on the 4th spot, back over here, and then this one gets disposed of. So this one hasn't done much work, so it's still got some life in it. Unscrew the 4th one and hold on to it. Unscrew the 2nd one and dispose of it, and then put the 4th one into the 2nd spot. And then get your new carbon, take the little yellow tab out. Depending on how many years you've had your system too, first 2 years is usually fine, but there is a little O-ring in here. You can replace them, but just have a look at them before you put the cartridges in, just to see if they have any damage. But it's usually on the 3 to 5 years you want to look at replacing them. Screw that in, so they're all done. And then the last one is the alkaliser cartridge. So on the alkaliser cartridge, it's got an in and an out. So just make sure you don't get that mixed up. So get your new one. It also has little tabs either side. Take them out. What I like to do is just do one side at a time, so you actually can't stuff it up. So this is where you need the screwdriver for. There's a little white tab here. So if you just try and pull that, it's not going to come out. But there's a little white tab here. So you need to hold that little tab down towards the cartridge and then pull the thing at the same time. And the elbow will come out. So that's the little tab that I'm talking about. It's got a little bit of play in it. So you have to pull it, hold it against, and then pull out at the same time. So that was the in. So just make sure you obviously got in and out. So I'll put the in back in the in. Just push it in and push it all the way in. That's all you need to do. And then we'll do the same thing here. Hold that little tab down. Can be a little bit fiddly. and pull it out, and then push it in all the way. So now your changeover's done. Obviously the system's still turned off. So what we want to do now is just make sure your tap's turned on, and then turn this valve back on. So that will start adding water back into the system. You'll get a bit of air coming out of the tap. You won't get any water probably for like a minute or two, but just leave that running until the tap starts to dribble. Once the tap starts to dribble, then turn the tap off, and then just look at the system, just make sure nothing's leaking anywhere. If it is gonna leak, you might see like a leak out of the top here. Just make sure the cartridges are tightened. As I said, they need to be hand tight. And then what you want to do is turn this valve back on. And then your whole system's back on, but you'll need to wait for it to fully flush the air out. So obviously that's going to be back on. With the whole system back on, leave it for about 20 to 30 minutes, then come back and turn the tap on, let it run for 3 to 5 minutes or until the water stops, and then turn your tap off, let it refill, and you're good to go. Obviously, just give it another check after like an hour of it being fully refilled, just to make sure nothing's leaking. Yeah, and that's the changeover done.